She walked into my life like a scene from a movie. Bright green eyes, golden hair, perfect smile, and that confidence money buys. Madison Clark wasn't just beautiful. She was magnetic. Every man in the room turned when she passed, but somehow she looked straight at me. I was covered in grease, fixing a hydraulic lift, trying to finish a long shift. She brought me coffee the next morning and said she admired men who worked hard. I laughed, awkward and surprised. No woman like her ever noticed men like me. But she did, or at least she made me believe it. She asked questions about my job, my tools, my life, like it all fascinated her. She said my hands looked strong, that I made hard work look noble. Those words hit deeper than they should have. By the end of the week, she asked if I wanted to take her out. My heart almost stopped. Dinner was at a fancy restaurant I'd only seen in magazines. She ordered wine I couldn't pronounce and laughed when I fumbled with the menu. I tried to hide how out of place I felt. But she made me feel like I belonged there, just because I was with her. When the check came, I paid without thinking. $180, gone in one night. It didn't matter. I felt rich just sitting across from her. After that, dates became a routine. High-end bars, mountain wineries, expensive dinners where she dressed like a celebrity and I dressed like a worker trying too hard. She'd hold my hand across the table, call me her real man, and I'd melt every time. I didn't see the pattern forming. I didn't see the trap. Each weekend cost more than the last. But the price felt worth it. I was dating a woman other men only dreamed about. When I came home from work, she'd text pictures of herself in silk dresses. When I complained about overtime, she'd whisper how proud she was of me. It was intoxicating. The mix of admiration and desire made me blind. I thought love was supposed to cost something. I just didn't realize the bill would never stop. She started talking about moving in together. Said her roommate was messy, loud, impossible to live with. She needed peace to focus on her growth. I wanted to be the man who gave her that peace. So I found us a place. A perfect apartment in the city, modern kitchen, big windows, nice view. $1,600 a month plus utilities. She promised to split everything evenly. She never did. Each month came with a new excuse. A delayed paycheck. A sudden family emergency. A broken car. I covered it all, smiling like it was love. Maybe it was, at least on my side. Because when she kissed me, every warning faded away. I didn't see the manipulation, only her perfume and perfect smile. I thought I'd found the one. But really, I just bought my way into a lie. Moving in with Madison felt like a dream at first. She filled the apartment with laughter, candles, and soft music. She made every evening feel like a movie scene. But behind the glow, little cracks began to show. Bills started piling up faster than I expected. She always promised to handle her half when her paycheck cleared. That paycheck never seemed to arrive. I told myself it was temporary, that she just needed time. Love makes excuses. I made a lot of them. Rent, groceries, utilities, all of it came from my account. She'd smile, kiss me, and say she'd make it up later. Later never came. Instead, came boxes from Nordstrom and Sephora every other week. New clothes, new makeup, new shoes. She called them investments in her image. I called them warning signs. But I kept quiet. I wanted peace, not arguments. When she cooked dinner, I forgot the money. When she wore something beautiful, I forgot the stress. She had that power, to erase logic with a touch. I worked extra hours, telling myself it was worth it. She started taking pictures around the apartment for social media. Captions like, "Building a life with my hardworking man." The likes poured in. Her smile online looked so perfect that I started believing it again. We looked like a couple winning at life. But behind those pictures, I was eating instant noodles for lunch. Behind the filters, our credit cards were screaming. 6 months in, she brought up the idea of getting engaged. I wasn't ready, but she made it sound like destiny. She talked about houses, family, a future we hadn't earned yet. And when she hugged me, I wanted to believe every word. She said, "Ethan, you're the only man who truly understands me." That line could melt steel. I didn't realize it was the same one she'd used before. When her friends visited, she acted like a queen, told stories about our shared success, made it sound like she built everything with me. I just smiled, too tired to correct her. Because arguing with Madison was like shouting at the wind. She'd twist every word until I felt guilty for speaking. I started noticing how every compliment came with a cost. If I questioned her spending, she'd go cold. If I gave her what she wanted, she'd reward me with affection. Love became a transaction. I worked harder, thinking I could buy peace. Every paycheck went into keeping her happy. Every smile cost me something. I didn't know it then, but she was already keeping score. Not of love, but of what I could provide. The woman who once made me feel strong now made me feel small. And yet, every time she said, "I love you," I believed her again. I mistook manipulation for devotion. And I mistook spending for love. That was my biggest mistake. The wedding was everything she wanted. Perfect lighting, expensive flowers, and a crowd of people she barely knew. I just smiled and paid the bills. When she said, "I do," I thought the struggle was worth it. But marriage didn't make her softer. It made her hungrier. 3 months later, she quit her job without warning. Said she wanted to find her purpose and maybe start her own brand. Her new full-time job became spending. Every day, new packages arrived at the door. Home decor, clothes, candles, furniture, endless things we didn't need. Our living room looked like a showroom. She called it creating a lifestyle. I called it madness. Still, I worked longer hours to keep up. She said she was proud of me, but her eyes told a different story. She started comparing me to her friends' husbands. The lawyers, the bankers, the tech guys with shiny suits and clean hands. She'd come home from their dinners silent and cold. Then whisper, "Don't you ever wish we had more?" More meant debt. More meant exhaustion. But I nodded anyway, because fighting her always ended the same. She'd cry, call me controlling, and say I didn't support her dreams. So I shut my mouth and kept paying. She bought a $1,800 dining table without asking. Said it made the house look successful. She bought rugs, art, curtains, all to impress people who never visited. Every room screamed luxury, while our bank account screamed empty. When I tried to budget, she froze me out. No words, no touch, just silence until I gave in. Her love had terms. Obedience meant affection. Questions meant punishment. I started eating cheap food to save money. She got $120 manicures and posted them online. Self-care, she called it. I called it insanity. My clothes wore thin, my boots cracked, but she kept buying heels. Her world was made of filters, and I was the one paying for them. The worst part was her tone when she talked about my job. She said the smell of diesel gave her headaches. Said she wished I had a real career. Those words hit harder than any punch. I was breaking my back to keep us afloat. But she made me feel like I was failing. Like I wasn't enough. She stopped kissing me goodnight. Stopped asking about my day. The woman I married vanished, replaced by someone cold and demanding. Love turned into performance. Intimacy turned into reward. I started wondering when she'd stop pretending. Every paycheck disappeared faster than I could earn it. Every compliment felt rehearsed. The house was beautiful, but it didn't feel like home anymore. I worked, she spent, and silence filled the space between us. That's when I realized something was breaking. Not just the marriage. Me. The day everything changed started quietly. The job site shut down early because of a safety inspection. I got home around 1 in the afternoon, tired but relieved. I expected to find Madison doing something productive. Maybe cleaning, cooking, or planning her so-called business. Instead, she was lying on the couch in yoga pants, scrolling through her phone. Shopping bags surrounded her like trophies. Nordstrom, Ulta, Lululemon, stores I couldn't afford even on payday. She didn't even look up when I walked in. Just kept tapping her screen, laughing at some video. "What's all this?" I asked, pointing at the mountain of bags. She sighed like I was a child interrupting her. "Just a few little things I needed," she said flatly. I opened the bags one by one. A $200 shirt. A $300 dress. Hundreds spent on makeup she already owned. My stomach twisted. "Madison, we can't afford this," I said quietly. She finally looked up, eyes cold. "You're being so controlling, Ethan. God, relax." I felt something snap inside me. This wasn't love anymore. It was mockery. She rolled her eyes and added, "Maybe you should find a better job then." That sentence cut deeper than any argument before. I'd been breaking myself for her lifestyle, and she still wasn't satisfied. That night, I heard her talking in our bedroom. Her voice was sharp and confident. I didn't mean to listen, but the walls were thin. "He's being such a baby about money," she said, laughing. "If he can't afford to take care of me properly, what's the point?" I froze. Then she added, "Dad already knows a good divorce lawyer. I'll be fine." My blood turned to ice. She was already planning her escape. Already plotting how to take half of everything I worked for. While she drained the credit cards and smiled across the dinner table. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling and thought about every moment I'd defended her. Every time I'd told friends she just needed understanding. Every lie I'd believed because it was easier than the truth. The next morning, I called in sick for the first time in years. I spent the whole day digging through our accounts. Every charge, every receipt, every online order. What I found made me sick. $31,000 in useless luxury. Clothes she wore once. Jewelry she returned after posting online. Subscription boxes unopened in closets. She'd been living off my blood and sweat while pretending to be rich. I even found messages from an ex warning others about her. The same pattern. The same manipulation. That's when it finally clicked. I wasn't her husband. I was her paycheck. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. I'd spent my life fixing broken machines. Now it was time to fix my broken life. And this time, I'd do it with precision. For 3 months, I played the perfect husband. I smiled, cooked dinners, and kissed her goodnight. But every word, every glance was part of my plan. I had one goal now: end this on my terms. I started collecting evidence like a detective. Receipts, bank statements, screenshots, photos, everything. I bought a small hidden camera and placed it in the living room. Every meltdown, every insult, every lie was recorded. I opened a separate bank account she couldn't touch. I moved small amounts from overtime pay each week. Nothing she'd notice, but enough to build my escape fund. In 3 months, I saved $12,000. Meanwhile, I started saying no to her ridiculous demands. No to a weekend spa trip. No to a $2,000 handbag. Her reaction was pure rage. She screamed, cried, called me selfish and abusive. But I stayed calm, let the camera catch it all. Each tantrum showed who she really was. The sweet, grateful wife act vanished completely. Now she was entitled, cruel, and manipulative. She started threatening to leave me and take half. I just nodded and hit record. At night, I packed my valuable tools and stored them at my friend Jake's garage. Told her I needed space for a big project at work. She didn't care enough to question it. She was too busy planning her 30th birthday party. A once-in-a-lifetime celebration, she said. She wanted live music, catering, photographers, the works. Estimated cost, $20,000. I laughed inside but said nothing. She called it her Cinderella moment. I called it my countdown. When she demanded the money, I told her no again. That triggered the final explosion. She screamed about how I'd ruined her life. Said she deserved better than a cheap man who couldn't provide. All of it recorded in perfect audio. A week later, I overheard her on the phone again. This time with a divorce attorney. She was discussing false claims of financial abuse, planning to paint herself as a victim in court. That was the final proof I needed. 2 weeks before her big birthday, I filed for divorce. I arranged for her to be served at her favorite nail salon. Right in front of her friends, cameras flashing, faces shocked. The papers hit her hand, and her smile disappeared. That moment was pure justice. But I wasn't done yet. I contacted everyone she'd borrowed money from. Showed them proof she'd lied about her fake inheritance story. $7,000 total in fake loans. Her entire friend circle turned against her overnight. Vendors for her party demanded full payment up front. She maxed out every card we had left trying to cover it. $22,000 gone in days. The party was canceled, but the bills stayed. $15,000 lost in deposits alone. She called me a monster. I called it balance. Because for the first time in years, the score was even. The courtroom felt colder than I expected. Madison walked in wearing black, pretending to be the victim. Tears in her eyes, lies on her lips. She told the judge I'd controlled her, ruined her dreams. I didn't speak at first. I just handed over my evidence. Videos, receipts, text messages, bank records, everything. The truth didn't need my words. The judge watched clips of her screaming about money. Listened to recordings where she planned to fake abuse. Saw photos of her shopping sprees and returned items. Her face turned pale with every new detail shown. Her story collapsed right there in front of everyone. The judge ruled fast and sharp. She got no alimony, no sympathy, no share of my savings. She was held responsible for all the debt she'd created. $38,000 in her name alone. Her lawyer tried to argue, but it was useless. The evidence was too clear, too organized. For once, her charm couldn't save her. When we left the courthouse, she wouldn't even look at me. She just walked past, shaking, clutching her phone. But I wasn't finished. She'd already made new dating profiles before the case ended. Calling herself a misunderstood woman looking for real love. So I posted the truth online. Every document, every proof, every fake story she'd told. I didn't add insults or anger. Just facts. The internet did the rest. People shared it thousands of times. Her name spread across local pages like wildfire. Men warned each other about her. Her perfect online image crumbled overnight. She deleted everything, but it was too late. The damage was done. 8 months later, I saw her again by accident. She was working at Target, scanning items, wearing the same fake smile. No makeup, no designer clothes, just exhaustion. Her eyes looked empty, her confidence gone. I didn't feel victory, just closure. She built her life on lies, and it finally caught up. Meanwhile, my life was quiet again. I rented a small apartment downtown with a mountain view. For the first time, peace didn't feel boring. I met someone new, a nurse named Olivia. Strong, kind, grounded in reality. She paid her half, respected my work, never asked for more. We split everything evenly, like partners. When I told her about my past, she just held my hand. Some people need to lose everything to learn, she said. She was right. A few weeks later, Madison tried to reach me through a friend. Said she'd changed, asked for help to get back on her feet. I told him to give her one message. When you can stand on your own, maybe we'll talk. He said she cried, called me heartless. But I wasn't cruel. I was free. Because sometimes revenge isn't destruction. It's walking away untouched while they drown in their own choices. The storm finally passed. The noise, the anger, the lies, all gone. What remained was silence, calm, and clarity. I didn't win because she lost. I won because I finally stopped fighting for someone who never cared. Madison vanished from my life like a shadow at sunrise. Her world of filters and fake smiles dissolved into reality. She learned what it meant to live without someone to fund her fantasy. And I learned what peace really costs. It isn't money. It's letting go of guilt and pride. It's choosing yourself after years of being used. Now, mornings are quiet again. Coffee tastes better when it isn't shared with resentment. Work feels lighter when no one is draining your spirit. Sometimes I think about her, but not with anger. More like remembering a storm you survived. Every scar reminds me what I'll never accept again. I used to think revenge meant destruction. But real revenge is peace. And peace, once earned, is the sweetest victory of all.